Good morning, good morning, good morning. Top of the morning to you. Happy Thursday. It's Thankful Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. It's your girl TT from the D, and we are live and we are out and about this morning. We are going to talk about QT, quality time. We are on day 4 of the 5 love languages. Now, we've covered affirmations, words of affirmation. We've covered acts of service. We've covered gifts, right? Receiving gifts. And so we are going to talk about quality time. Yes, quality time. Quality time, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's something, whether you're in a relationship or if that's with your family, with your friends, with your children or your child, it is something that we can all appreciate, that we can all look forward to, having that one-on-one. You know how, ladies, you know how we be like, oh, we need some girl time. Fellas, we need to hang with the fellas. Y'all need that boy time, the fellas time where y'all do your thing, whether it's a golf trip, a sporting trip, you name it, whatever it looks like. You know how we like to do different things. But I'm going to reflect and talk about quality time in relationships, right? Between spouses, significant others, whatever that looks like for you. The importance of quality time. We don't have enough of it. And I think we could blame it on having to live in a society where you work the average job 9 to 5. Maybe not that 9 to 5. It could be 8 to 4, 8 to 5. You know how that goes. But the typical 9 to 5, right? You're doing 8 to 9 hours minimum a day in full-time jobs in today's time, especially in the United States. I don't know about other places in the country. And I'm very aware that we have listeners around the globe. Good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls as well. But I definitely want to say that it is important all the way around the globe. I don't think anybody anywhere would actually say, oh, you know, my relationship could do without quality time. I'm not really big into QT. I really don't need it. I don't think anybody could honestly say that. Who doesn't like to spend quality time with that person who makes them happy, brings them joy, brings them peace? I don't really know anybody. And so if you could say that, then perhaps you're one of those people that's in that relationship that you know you really shouldn't be in that relationship, and you entered that relationship because of some other reasons and hidden agendas, and so therefore you were suffering way long before you got into that relationship, and you're paying the price while you're in it. Now, sometimes people enter those type of relationships one-sided, where you know this is not who you want to be with. You know there's a hidden agenda on why you chose her, why you chose him, heck, why you chose them. Because some of y'all are in multi relationships. Some of you have multi-marriages. In certain parts of the world, it's legal. It's legal to have more than one wife. Now, ladies, isn't that crazy? In certain parts of the world, it's legal to have more than one wife, but there is nowhere in the world it's legal to have more than one husband. That's something I would love to talk about. I would have to definitely do my research and get some experts on that. That's interesting. That's on a whole nother topic, a whole nother level, but it's just the way of the world. A lot of things we deal with and encounter are one-sided. We do understand that. We know that. But I really go back to saying I don't think that there's anybody really that would look and say, you know what, I'm good. I don't really need quality time, unless you're not happy in that situation, that relationship that you've willingly entered. Most times you enter it willingly. Now, there are some times with prearranged marriages. I know a young lady that I used to do a radio show with, and she was in an arranged marriage. And it wasn't an arranged marriage where she actually was happy in it. Now, out of that arranged marriage, she did have some beautiful children, and she was afforded to live a decent life. But it was the peace, it was the joy, it was the happiness that she lacked, because it wasn't where she was able to pick her husband. It was arranged for her. It was prearranged for her. So, you know, I don't want to drop who she is, but I would love to talk about her book. And as a matter of fact, I might try to reach out to her, because it's interesting. That's a whole nother level. And that goes into what I was kind of saying, but not. But getting back to the topic this morning, quality time. You have to make time, ladies and gentlemen. You have to make time for your significant other, your chosen spouse, that man, that woman, that person that you share your space and your time with. And I'm not just saying, oh, we're in the same house and we're in a, we're together. Yeah, when we get off work, we're at home together. Like, no. Quality time, like going to a movie, having a date night, enjoying dinner with one another, doing things that really, really, really bring you joy and peace and happiness. Like, what does that look like for you on an average day-to-day basis? What does that really look like for you? That is what we want to talk about. That's what we want to kind of tap into. We have to do these things on a daily basis, but we really don't do it. We don't plan. Some of us don't really plan because we have such hectic schedules. A lot of us lead very hectic lives. We come and go, and we're always on the go. For instance, for myself, my husband just returned from tour, and I was happy to be able to get him from the airport. But it was literally, I'm gonna pick my husband up from the airport. I made dinner plans early so I can make sure, after being on the road for over a month, that he had something he enjoyed or he wanted, knowing that I didn't have time to cook. Why? Because I still have my typical 9 to 5, right? And mind you, I was just like, okay, let me try to arrange things, prepare for rehearsal. Those of you that listen and kind of follow me, you know that I also do several other things outside of my 9 to 5. And so I'm working diligently on a phenomenal hit stage play of Peerless Times that's coming to the Fisher Theater April 6th, 7th, and 8th. So once I got my husband yesterday from the airport, I had enough time to get him home safely, make sure that he got his gifts and things, right? Because acts of service, giving gifts, right? I still, even though, he had birthday gifts to return to, I had some little surprises for him at the house as well. And I had to go. I literally had to go. I had to change into my clothes and I had to hit rehearsal. And by the time I got in, it was kind of late, but we still spent some quality time, of course. And then even this morning, we spent some quality time this morning, and he's still on overseas time, right? He's still on overseas time. And so it was just like, wow, we don't have anything really on the books after my normal 9 to 5 today. So we're going to, do dinner and see what else we can slide in there, you're not going to catch up because you lose time, but you just say, hey, where are we right now? That's what's important. Where are we right now and what do we want to do? And you make it happen. I always beat it out into the atmosphere. When I say beat, it's like a drum. You have to make time for date night. And it doesn't have to be an all-out, oh, we went to Capitol Grill or Ruth's Crisp or, Prime and Proper. It doesn't have to be that. You simply could go to one of your favorite inexpensive restaurants or make a little picnic in the park, depends on where you are in the world and what the weather is looking like. And you can create that moment of time and get that QT time where you reconnect. Every time you create quality time, it's really important, I feel, that we learn to reconnect with our significant others. So much goes on that we miss out on some things and we want to catch up and we want to know what's going on. So in the midst of doing that, we want to make sure that we're really tapping in and we're really saying, hey, what's been going on? We've been busy. We haven't connected in a week or a couple days. In my case, a month, a little over a month. We talked every day. We FaceTime and video chat, but it wasn't the same. There was not that, there wasn't that quality time there, except, we're on two different schedules. I still, made it work. If that meant I had to set my alarm and get up at 3 or 4 in the morning so I could talk with him. And that's what I did, knowing I still had to get up at 6 in the morning to get ready, to get my son ready for school and all the things that my husband would normally do. I did all that stuff and still made time. Why? Because it's important. So you get your quality time the best way you can, however you can, right? There are no rhymes and reasons. I can't say, well, that's not a good way to do quality time. Who am I? I can't tell you what's a good way to do your quality time. You know what you and your significant other, your special person, you know what you guys enjoy, what you like. And so that's for you to figure it out. That's for you to look at the time. And sometimes, I hate to say it, sometimes to make this quality time love work, you want to make sure that you actually calendar. Some of us have to calendar. And it's funny, when people say, yeah, I got to schedule time with my wife, or I got to schedule time with my husband, or I got to schedule time with my boyfriend, I got to schedule time with my girlfriend, my significant other, my boo thing. Yeah, if that's what it means, because guess what? You schedule time on your calendar at your day job or your night job. When you have to have meetings, you have to schedule it. We go by calendars. So you put that in there. Even if it's back-to-back meetings, whatever that looks like, you schedule it. You calendar it. So if you live a very hectic life, you need to schedule and calendar in QT time. I promise you. If you're that person who is, sometimes it's one-sided. Sometimes you got that one person that's like, hey, I'm available. It's you that's always on the go. Well, if they've said that to you several times, then you need to revisit that and say, you know what? It's not that she isn't available or he isn't available. I'm not available. And if it's you that's holding up the QT time, you need to be the one to create it. Or you could say, I'm going to empower you. This is what my schedule looks like. And this is my availability, because I know, like, I'm jet setting. You could be that person that's in and out of town a lot. I have a lot of married friends, a lot of friends that are in serious relationships where they are on the move. They travel a lot. They have a child or children, and some are single. Some are still trying to figure each other out and make time for each other. So they have not decided to bring children or a child into the world, because they're trying to balance it out and learn about each other. So they're looking at, okay, before we bring another human being here, let's get out and map out time for us. Because if we don't have time for us, how are we going to have time for that child? Or it's going to be one-sided, where that person who has the time will be that full-time parent while you're kind of tapping in. And that might seem cruel or anything like that, but it takes two in a whole lot of scenarios, a whole lot of situations in these relationships that we choose to enter. Marriage is a very sacred thing. I can't talk about just long-term relationships being sacred, because at any time you could walk away. And some people could say, girl, please, at any time in this marriage I could walk away. No, when you're in a serious relationship, in a marriage, when I say serious marriage, a covenant, depending on what situation it is, it's not even a factor. It's not even an option to just say, I'm going to walk away. You're going to try to look at situations and say, you know what, to each its own. How are we going to fix this? How are we going to attempt to reconstruct what has been destroyed or interrupted? There are some things that I feel that are not deal breakers. I think there's some things we encounter in life and we just say, I can't. And then some people that might say, I just can't. You might have somebody to say, you know what, I'm going to make it work. I've known people that'll say, if my spouse had an indiscretion, as a long time ago, an entanglement, that whole piece, they may say, well, you know what, I'm not willing to throw my marriage away because they had an entanglement, right? But we gonna say they had an affair. Some people might say, I can't. I don't know if it's pride or whatever. I personally don't feel like that's to bounce back from. I think it would be very devastating for myself. You understand? When you actually go in knowing that you've had deep conversation about that type of thing. But you never know until you're in that situation. I can say what I don't think I'll do, but you never know until you're in that situation and circumstance, and you can only hope and pray that you don't ever have to be in that position where you gotta say, oh my God. One of the things our pastor said when he married us, and everybody laughed because I laughed, and he was like, I know, TT, right? And so he was like, life's going to get hard. We're going to be faced with challenges and circumstances.